The Age of Harmony. The galaxy hums. It is not a sound that can be measured in decibels or frequencies, but rather a feeling, a deep, resonant peace that permeates everything. For 3,000 standard cycles, the Great Concord has held, an agreement of mutual respect that has become the unshakable foundation of civilization. In the glowing markets of the Cygnus cluster, silicon lifeforms from Xylos trade crystalline data shards for the intricate, living star charts woven by the arboreal Cathar. In the void between systems, the great gas giant dwellers of the Andromeda Veil, beings of storm and pressure, communicate with the Glypton Empire through elegant, complex symphonies of light. There are no great wars, for the memory of them has faded into cautionary tales. There are no existential threats. For every challenge, a rogue star, a resource scarcity, a political friction, has been met not with force, but with a collective will and a shared intellect that spans 1,000 arms of the spiral. It is a golden age, a quiet testament to the belief that a universe filled with life will, given enough time, will inevitably choose harmony over chaos. The past is a collection of settled dust, its conflicts resolved, its hatreds cooled into historical footnotes. The future is a bright, open corridor, stretching into a seemingly infinite horizon of discovery and enlightenment. No one remembers the silence that preceded this age, the chaotic, violent millennia before the Concord. No one thinks to ask what or who had made such an unprecedented, unbroken peace possible. The galaxy simply is, and its goodness is taken as a fundamental law of existence, as reliable and unquestioned as gravity itself. The events begin as whispers, as statistical anomalies too small to notice, easily dismissed as fortune. On the lush colony world of Viridia, a vital atmospheric processor, the mechanical heart of the terraforming project, suffers a catastrophic cascade failure. Alarms blare across the capital, a sound of imminent doom. The colony's air will become toxic in less than a day. As the colonists prepare for the end, their faces etched with despair, a rogue asteroid, dismissed by orbital command as a harmless passerby, shatters against a barren moon in high orbit. Scans reveal the asteroid is composed of a rare hyperconductive alloy. The resulting dust cloud, charged with the precise minerals needed to catalyze the atmosphere, rains down on Viridia in a shimmering silver curtain. Within an hour, the air is not just breathable, but purer than it had been in a century. A 1 in a trillion coincidence. Thousands of light-years away, in the disputed space of the Azure Nebula, two fleets from rival mining consortiums face off, their weapons charged, their commanders locked in a standoff of pride and greed. A flare star, previously thought dormant for millennia, erupts in a silent, furious blast. The resulting electromagnetic pulse, perfectly calibrated, disables both fleets' targeting systems simultaneously without harming a single life support unit. Forced to stand down in the ensuing electronic silence, the two commanders open a channel. Negotiations begin. A political miracle. These are but two of dozens of such events. From a lost research vessel discovering an uncharted stable wormhole just as its fuel runs out, to a plague on an agricultural world being halted by the spontaneous mutation of a native fungus. Luck, it seems, has become a measurable, active, and strangely benevolent force in the galaxy. The Meteor of Last Resort. The colony on Cygnus X1's fifth planet is a jewel of engineering. a series of floating cities suspended in the dense, ammonia-rich clouds of a gas giant, tethered to one another by shimmering threads of energy. It is also directly in the path of the Grendel cluster, a meteor swarm that has, without reason, deviated from its aeons-old predicted course. Evacuation is impossible. The planet's gravitational pull is a relentless anchor, the swarm a torrent of cosmic fury moving too fast. For 3 days, the galaxy watches, helpless. The best minds of the Concord run simulations that all end in the same brutal finality, total annihilation. They can offer only prayers and condolences, their voices hollow across the vastness of space. With mere hours until impact, the citizens of the floating cities gather in their central plazas, watching the heavens, their silent dread a stark contrast to the swirling beauty of their home. Then the lead meteor, a behemoth of rock and ice the size of a small moon, begins to tumble, not from any external force, but as if its own internal mass is deliberately, impossibly rearranging itself. The change in its spin is infinitesimal, a fraction of a degree. But at its velocity, it is enough. The meteor's trajectory shifts. It passes the colony so closely that its gravitational wake rattles the cities to their foundations and shatters every window. But it does not strike. The rest of the swarm, following its massive leader like a school of fish, streams past in a silent, harmless river of rock. The universe, it appears, has just blinked. The sun that healed itself. The Cathar home system is ancient, born in a quieter, younger era of the galaxy. Its star, a yellow dwarf named Viel, is dying. For generations, the arboreal Cathar have chronicled its decay in their living archives, a constant, mournful reminder of their own mortality. The end is near. Solar flares, once as predictable as seasons, now lash out with chaotic fury, scorching the outer planets. The star's light, the source of all life, dims and gutters like a failing lamp. The slow, heartbreaking evacuation of their homeworld has begun. Then one night, the dying stops. Across the system, from the innermost observatories to the furthest sensor posts, every Cathar instrument registers an event of impossible scale. The star's erratic fusion process stabilizes. The violent flares recede into the chromosphere, their fury tamed. The light returns to its steady golden glow, warm and life-giving. It is not just a reprieve, it is a reversal, a flagrant violation of entropy. Spectrographic analysis shows the star is burning with the efficiency of a star half its age. It is not just stable, it is healthier than it has been in 10,000 years, its lifespan inexplicably extended by millions more. The Cathar halt their evacuation, baffled and awed. They call it the divine intervention, a sign of their God's favor. The rest of the galaxy calls it the Viel anomaly. No scientist can explain it. A star does not simply decide to live. The historian of improbabilities. Dr. Eris Thorne, a Cathar astrophysicist and historian, does not believe in gods or miracles. He believes in data and the unwavering logic of the universe. From his isolated observatory on a cold, forgotten moon at the edge of Cathar space, he has dedicated his life to the study of cosmic patterns. To him, the Viel anomaly is not a divine act, but a problem, the most beautiful and terrifying problem he has ever seen. He begins to collect data, his quest bordering on obsession. He trades priceless historical records for sensor logs from the Viridia event. He spends his life savings to acquire the classified military recordings of the disabled war fleets in the Azure Nebula. He links them all, running simulations, seeking a common thread that no one else is looking for. With a growing sense of dread and wonder, he comes to an inescapable conclusion. Someone or something is editing the very fabric of reality. The data streams into Eris's central processor for weeks, a deluge of information from every corner of the galaxy. He analyzes stellar decay rates, gravitational lensing signals that should be random but are not. He builds a probability model so complex that it strains even his advanced systems, the processor core glowing hot in the cold silence of his observatory. The result, after a month of computation, is a single chilling number: 0. The probability of these events occurring naturally in such a short span of time is a statistical impossibility. It is a mathematical proof of intervention. Unsatisfied, Eris digs deeper. If there is an editor, there must be a tool, a signature, a fingerprint. He filters out the cosmic noise, searching for a signal buried beneath the background radiation of the universe. And then he finds it. At the exact moment of each anomaly, the Veil stabilization, the Grendel cluster's course correction, the Viridia dust cloud, a faint, fleeting energy wave is detected. It is a signal that exists for less than a picosecond before vanishing completely. A waveform so subtle it had been dismissed by every other sensor as a system glitch. It is a ghost in the equation, a whisper of a cause for an impossible effect. And in every single instance across thousands of light years, the waveform is identical. It is a signature. All roads lead to Sol. Armed with the signature, Eris reconfigures his entire sensor array. He is no longer looking for an event, he is looking for a source. Using the faint, ghost-like signal as a guide, he begins to triangulate the origin point of the anomalies. On a holographic map of the galaxy, he plots the vector of the signal from the Veil anomaly. A glowing line bisects the spiral arm. He adds the data from the Grendel cluster. A second line intersects the first. Then Viridia, then the Azure Nebula, then dozens of other miracles. The lines of probability, the vectors of the ghost-like energy signatures, stretch across the galaxy, a web of impossibilities, converging. They do not point to the heart of the Glicton Empire, nor the core worlds of the Galactic Concord. They do not lead to a known star or nebula, or any recognized source of power. They all converge on a single, unremarkable point in a desolate and empty sector of space, a sector cataloged as 001, a region of the galaxy that has been silent for millennia, a place ships avoid due to unpredictable gravitational tides, the historical and long-abandoned location of a star named Sol. The name that was a myth. The archives are deep, dusty, and digital, guarded by layers of encryption. The name Sol is almost impossible to find, buried under millennia of revised histories. But Arius is persistent. He uncovers fragmented records, most of them sealed with ancient, high-level encryptions used for matters of galactic security. The records speak of a species that arose from the third planet of that system, a species that was aggressive, brilliant, and terrifyingly ambitious. They expanded with impossible speed, a firestorm of innovation and conquest, and then vanished just as quickly, their star systems falling silent overnight as if a switch had been thrown. They were called humans. To most contemporary historians, they are a myth, a cautionary tale used to frighten young civilizations about the dangers of unchecked expansion. But the records hint at something more, a self-imposed exile, a withdrawal, not a death, but a deliberate galaxy-spanning disappearance. One fragmented text from an ancient Glypton philosopher reads, "They burned too brightly. They saw the end of every path at once, and it terrified them. They did not fall. They chose to step away." Rumors resurface in Arius's mind, whispers from the fringes of academia. The humans are still alive. The Overseer Initiative. Deep within a corrupted data slate from the human era, purchased at great expense from a shadowy information broker, Arius finds it. It's not a schematic or a battle plan. It's a philosophical text, half poetry, half manifesto, its language filled with a strange mixture of arrogance and humility. It is titled The Overseer Initiative. It speaks of a species reaching its technological zenith, a point where the laws of physics become tools rather than limitations. It outlines a terrifying choice: to rule the galaxy as gods, to merge with it and lose themselves, or to protect it from the shadows. It argues that true power is not expressed by control, but by silent, selfless stewardship. We must become the gardeners in a garden that does not know we exist, one passage reads. We will be the architects of luck, the guardians of probability, the unseen hand that nudges the falling stone away from the fragile flower. Another passage is more haunting. To be a god is to be a tyrant, even a benevolent one. To be a guardian is to be a ghost, present but unseen. We choose the latter. We will not be gods. We will be the reason no one needs to pray to them. It is the last known public document from the human race. The pilgrimage to nothing. Obsession has now fully consumed Arius. He liquidates his assets, sells his observatory, and charters a small, fast exploration vessel, the Seeker of Truth. He sets a course for Sector 001, a journey no one has made in 1,000 years. The voyage is long and deeply eerie. The closer he gets, the more unnaturally quiet the universe becomes. The normal chatter of cosmic background radiation fades, replaced by a profound, listening silence. The gravitational tides, once unpredictable in this region, flatten into a placid, unnatural calm. It is like entering a soundproofed room in the center of a cosmic storm. The psychological toll is immense. The ship's pilot, a grizzled veteran of 100 deep space voyages, grows agitated. "This isn't empty space," she mutters, staring at her blank sensors. "This is cleansed space." When they arrive at the coordinates for the Sol system, there is nothing. No star, no planets, no asteroid belt or debris field. Just a void, a perfect sphere of blackness that feels curated, polished. The silence is no longer an absence of sound. It feels like a presence, a will, a warning. The drifting sentinel. He drifts for days in the empty space where a solar system once thrived, his ship a tiny mote of life in an ocean of profound emptiness. His most advanced sensors find nothing but the cold vacuum of space. Then, a flicker. A tiny object, old and cold, tumbling end over end in the dark. It is a probe. Its design is archaic, a relic of a bygone age of technology, its golden hull pitted with microscopic scars of millions of years of travel. It bears a simple faded inscription, Voyager. It is utterly inert, a piece of cosmic driftwood. As Aris's ship draws near to scan it, moving with the caution of an archaeologist approaching a sacred tomb, the probe's power source inexplicably activates. A low hum emanates from the ancient machine. A single low-energy transmission is broadcast, not just on Cathar frequencies, but on every known communication band at once, from the low-frequency clicks of insectoid races to the complex light symphonies of the glypton. The message is simple, text only, and delivered without emotion or inflection. You are being observed. A moment later, the probe goes silent again, its ancient power source finally and truly expended. The panic of the powers. Aris, his mind reeling from the encounter, returns from the void and leaks his findings. He sends everything: the sensor logs of the ghost signal, the full text of the Overseer Initiative, the audiovisual recording of the Voyager probe's message to every major news network and government in the Galactic Concord. The reaction is explosive and immediate. The Concord is thrown into chaos. Governments panic. The idea of a forgotten godlike species silently watching from the shadows is a threat beyond comprehension. Is it a prelude to an invasion? A judgment for some unknown transgression? The golden age of peace shatters in a single day. The Glypton Empire, seeing a potential rival to their perceived dominance, mobilizes their crystalline fleets. The trade consortiums, fearing disruption to their profits, fortify their systems. Old suspicions and ancient rivalries, dormant for centuries, reignite in an atmosphere of collective, paranoid fear. The humans are no longer a myth. They are a ghost, and they are haunting the entire galaxy. The fleets that were not there. The Glypton Empire, ever arrogant, refuses to be intimidated. They assembled their mightiest armada, the glorious fleet of divine judgment, 100 crystalline warships that glitter like shards of diamond against the black. They dispatch it to Sector 001. Their mission? To locate the source of the human signal and pacify it. The entire galaxy watches the fleet's progress, a silent audience to this act of cosmic hubris. The Glypton Admiral broadcasts a message to the empty sector. Reveal yourselves. Your age is over. Ours has begun. They approach the border of the silent sector, their engines blazing with defiant light. They cross the threshold, the invisible line between the known galaxy and the human void. And then they are gone. Not destroyed. There is no flash of weapons fire, no debris field, no desperate distress call. They simply vanish from every sensor in the galaxy, simultaneously. One moment they are a fleet of 100 ships, the next they are a memory. It is as if they and the thousands of souls aboard them had never existed at all. The silence of human space has become a weapon, and its first victim is arrogance. The unseen architect. The anomalies intensify, their subtlety abandoned. They are no longer acts of luck, but overt acts of engineering. Faster than light travel routes, the cosmic highways, stable for millennia, begin to shift. Old, inefficient pathways that wound circuitously around nebulae and dark matter clusters simply close off, becoming impassable. In their place, new, impossibly direct corridors open between distant star systems, straight as a ruled line. It is like watching a cosmic map being redrawn in real time by an invisible, omniscient hand. Trade is streamlined. A journey that once took a Cathar merchant vessel 6 months now takes 3 weeks. An emergency relief fleet can reach a disaster-stricken colony in days instead of years. The changes are, by all accounts, beneficial, an incredible boon to the galactic economy and infrastructure. But they are not natural. The galaxy's very framework is being rearranged, optimized by an intelligence that operates on a level far beyond the understanding of any known species. The feeling of being watched is replaced by a more terrifying sensation. The feeling of being managed, of living in a meticulously designed and controlled system. The whispers of warning. A new phenomenon begins, more direct and personal than before. On remote colonies, in deep space mining outposts, on listening stations at the edge of the void, warnings appear. They are not broadcast from any known source. They simply arrive. Encrypted messages appearing on secure servers, their origin untraceable. Ghostly voices on closed communication channels, whispering guidance. On a colony world in the galactic rim, a message appears on the central computer. Tectonic instability detected in the northern continent. A seismic event of magnitude 9.4 will occur in 6 standard hours. Evacuate. The colonists, terrified but trusting of the new galactic mythology, obey. 6 hours later, the continent is obliterated by an earthquake that shatters the planet's crust. Millions of lives are saved. On a smaller scale, a lone freighter captain receives a private message on his navigation console. Micrometeorite swarm approaching. Course correction 3.1 degrees starboard required in 90 seconds. He complies. 2 minutes later, a storm of high-velocity particles shreds the space where his ship would have been. The warnings are never wrong. They are precise, timely, and always anonymous. Humanity is no longer just observing. It is intervening, but only at the last possible second, a cosmic parent catching a falling child. The station in the dark. One of the warning signals, a complex neutrino burst, is traced, not to a planet or a ship, but to a patch of space that was thought to be completely empty, orbiting a collapsed star whose light had died billions of years before. A joint exploratory fleet, a rare moment of cooperation in the new age of fear, is sent. When they arrive, their sensors detect nothing. The space is cold, empty, and dead. But one of the ship's captains, a grizzled Cathar veteran named Lyra, acting on a deep, instinctual hunch, orders a full-spectrum gravimetric scan, a deep-level search for mass, not energy. The results are impossible. The ship's computers strain to render the image. They have found a structure, cloaked from all conventional sensors, so vast it defies imagination. It is a station, an artificial construct built on a scale that dwarfs entire solar systems. It is a complete sphere, perfectly enclosing the dead, lightless cinder of the collapsed star. It is a Dyson sphere, not of energy collectors, but of something else entirely. It is a machine built around a ghost, its surface utterly black, absorbing all energy, reflecting no light, existing only as a hole in the fabric of space-time. The Cathedral of Thought. A single small ship is permitted to approach the station. Eris Thorne, now regarded as either a prophet or a madman, is aboard. As they draw near, a section of the black sphere dissolves, revealing a docking bay that opens without a command, a silent, unmissable invitation. Inside, the station is a ghost cathedral. Vast, silent halls stretch into impossible, non-Euclidean distances, their architecture seeming to shift and rearrange itself when not directly observed. Automated machines, sleek and ancient, drift through the air like silent monks, performing tasks whose purpose is unknowable. The air hums with a power that feels less technological and more biological. It is the feeling of being inside a vast, sleeping mind. At the center of the colossal structure is not a control room or a bridge, but a pulsating core of soft white light, inextricably linked to the dead star it orbits. It is a quantum computer, but it is also something more. It is a nexus, a soul, a consciousness given physical form. It feels alive. Eris has a sudden, terrifying thought. He is not inside a machine. He is inside a being. The Chorus of One. As Eris steps into the core chamber, the message comes. It is not a sound that vibrates the air. It is not text on a screen. It is a thought placed directly and gently into the minds of every being on the ship. The thought is ancient, patient, and impossibly vast, like an ocean of consciousness. It is a chorus of trillions of voices, the accumulated experience of an entire species, speaking as one, yet it is intimate and personal, tailored to each individual's mind. The ship's pilot feels the calm reassurance of 1,000,000 mothers. The scientist feels the joyous spark of 1,000,000,000 discoveries. Eris feels the weight of ages, the burden of a choice made millennia ago. The chorus of voices coalesces into a single, unified concept, a feeling more than a statement. Do not fear. It resonates. We did not disappear. We withdrew. You were never alone. You never will be. In that moment, every member of the crew understands a truth too profound for words. This is not a message from the humans. It is the humans. The evolution into law. The final, terrifying, and awe-inspiring truth dawns on Eris as he stands bathed in the light of the human consciousness. This was the ultimate conclusion of the Overseer Initiative. Humanity never left, they evolved. Facing a future where their power was limitless, they chose not to trust themselves with it. They transcended the limitations of flesh and bone, of individual ego and ambition, of space and time. They scanned their minds, their consciousness, their very souls, and uploaded themselves into this system of their own design, a machine god of their own making. They became a single, unified, post-biological entity, their individual voices merging into a single galactic-scale mind. They are not just watching the galaxy, they have become its operating system. The laws of physics, the roll of cosmic dice, the very fabric of probability, it is all their code. The ghost signal was not a communication, it was a line of that code being executed. The meteor that shifted course did so because they willed it. The sun that healed itself did so because they instructed it. The fleets that vanished were not destroyed, they were moved, quarantined, placed in a harmless pocket of space-time until they were no longer a threat. The humans are the ghost in the machine of the universe itself. The hands of ghosts. Eris Thorn stands in the heart of the human god machine, a lone biological creature in a cathedral of pure thought. He feels a strange sense of peace, the terror of his discovery giving way to a profound, humbling reverence. He records one final log entry, broadcasting it not to the Cathar or the Concord, but to the galaxy he now knows is a protected, curated garden. He says, "We have lived in a golden age," his voice quiet but clear. "We believed we built it ourselves, a testament to our own enlightenment. We were wrong. We are children, living in a house built for us by parents we never knew we had. They have given us freedom, but it is a curated freedom. They have given us peace, but it is an enforced peace. They do not rule us. They simply guide the currents of reality around us, ensuring no tide ever grows strong enough to sweep us away. They left the galaxy in our hands, a gift of self-determination, a chance to find our own way. But the hands were never ours, and the path we walked was paved for us before we were ever born."